Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's the Educator here, and in this video we're going to be revising ZOO111 possible questions. Alright, so please I want to apologize in advance that you might be hearing some background noise. This is because I'm currently recording this video outside, but please don't be distracted with the noise. Okay, so this is your first time turning into this channel, please do well to hit the subscription button so that when videos like this are dropped, you'll be among the first set of people to receive a notification. Alright, so let's dive into the video. Question 1. Which of the following is a general characteristics of members of the kingdom Animalia? Characteristics is something that you must know. Okay, so we have that the Animalias, they are multicellular eukaryotic organisms. So now what you should take note of is, because students come out and say, oh, I did not see what you, I did not see any question. Please take note that you might not see the exact questions word for word, but this question now, the answer of this question can be rephrased to the question itself. So what am I trying to say? You can see something like this: multicellular eukaryotic organisms are dash which kingdom? You should know it is the kingdom Animalia. Okay. All right. So the question 2: animals obtain their food mainly through ingestion. So they take in their food through ingestion. All right. Question 3: which organelle is primarily responsible for aerobic respiration or aerobic energy production in animal cells? We have the mitochondria. This is a very popular question. Okay. Alright, so moving on. Which of the following is not a general characteristics of animals? General characteristics of animals. You already know that the cell wall is not present in animal. Okay, it is present in plants. So cell walls, which are made of cellulose, are not present in animals. Question 5. The simplest level of organization among multicellular animals is the cellular level. Alright, cellular level. Okay. Moving on, which phylum exhibits a cellular level of organization? So this is one other set of questions that you should also be considering. Each phylum represents a level of organization: cell level, organ level, tissue level, system level. So the question here is, which of them exhibits a cellular level of organization? It is the Porifera that exhibits a cellular level of organization. Okay, so question 7. The tissue level of organization is characteristics of the cnidarian. You know, after the Porifera, you have the cnidarian, and after cell, you have tissue. So this is the same way you should memorize it. Okay. Now, one thing you should take note of is for your zoology. In fact, immediately you commence your zoology exam, the first thing that you should write in the paper or any material or piece of paper you be taking to the exam on is the phylums. That's from Porifera to cnidarian to Platyhelmet to Nematode. All of those guys, write it down, because you'll be making reference of those things in answering each of the questions. Okay, so your tissue level of organization is the characteristics of the cnidarian. All right, question 8. Which phylum is associated with the organ level of organization? You can see it continues to go forward. Okay, so we have the Platyhelmets. They are characterized by the organ level of organization. Which sequence represents increasing structural complexity? You can see these questions are very, very simple questions. Okay, so if questions like this comes out in your exam, you should take note that this is a bonus question. Okay, and you shouldn't miss it. So we have from cell to tissue, then from tissue to organ, and from organ we have systems. All right. Question 9. An animal that cannot be divided into two approximately equal halves through any plane is known as asymmetrical. They cannot be done. They don't have symmetry. Right, so they are regarded as asymmetrical. Okay, so which of the following is characteristically radially symmetrical? All right, radially symmetrical. In fact, when you hear radially symmetrical, the only thing that should come to your mind is the hydra. It's a very, very, very common question. Hydra, they are radially symmetrical. All right, so question 12. Bilateral symmetry divides an organism into right and left halves. Please take note. Yes, it is into equal halves, but you take note that front and back is different from right and left. Anterior and posterior is different from right and left. They are two different things. Okay, take note of that. Question 13. The concentration of sensory organs and nervous tissue at the anterior end is called cephalization. So cephalization. Okay, so this is another trick that you take note of. Now you'll be seeing some questions to tell you which phylum started this, which phylum started this, which phylum did you see. Most likely you should take note that phylums that start these things are the Platyhelminths. Now, except proving otherwise, but if you come across any question and you see these characteristics started with what and you don't know it, it is most likely to be Platyhelminths. Okay, so Platyhelminths were the guys that started cephalization. Cephalization is just the formation of head, formation of nervous sensory cells to just concentrate to form the cephalic part, the head part. Normally the Porifera and the cnidarian, they did not have anything like that, but in the Platyhelminths they began to form that concentration of cells, the nervous sensory cells, and then cephalization occurred. Okay, so you take note: cephalization, metamerism, segmentation. They are three different things, and you must know every one of them. Okay. Question 14. Cephalization is strongly associated with bilateral symmetry. Take note of that. Which of the following animals is bilaterally symmetrical? Lumbricus. Another thing you take note of is your names, scientific names. Very, very important. You must know your scientific names very, very well. You must know your scientific names very, very well. Okay, so your scientific names are very, very, very important. You must know your scientific names very, very well. Okay, so just in case you want me to do a compilation of scientific names, although I've done the compilation, but if you'll be needing it, please do well to reply in the comment section. Type in the comment section scientific name, so that I'm going to drop the material for you. It's just a compilation of scientific names of organisms. If you're needing it, comment in the comment section. Scientific names. All right. Number 16. The three primary embryonic germ layers are the ectoderm, mesoderm, and the endoderm. Germ layers, that's where you get your triploblastic, diploblastic, and so on and so forth, like that. Okay, so ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm, just the way it is from the outside to the inside. Ecto outside, meso middle, and endo inside. Okay, all right, let's move on. 17. Nigerians are diploblastic because they possess two ectoderm and endoderm. They don't have a mesoderm. Ectoderm and endoderm. Please take note of that. All right. Question 18. Which of the following is triploblastic? Triploblastic, you find it in earthworm Nigerian. So they ask you first organism or organism that you start seeing triploblastic characteristics, the earthworms. Okay. Which germ layer gives rise mainly to muscle and connective tissue? It is your mesoderm. The germ layer associated with the formation of much of the nervous system and the outer body covering is known as the ectoderm. Okay, these are things that you must know. If you see them, don't even waste your time. Just click the answer and then you move on. An animal that lacks a body cavity between its guts and body wall is called a asulomate. They don't have body cavity. All right. Which of the following is an asulomate? Your tenia. They are asulomate. They don't have body cavities. All right. 23. The cavity of a pseudosulomate is derived mainly from a blastocele. Blastocele. Option B. Okay. 24. Which phylum is traditionally classified as pseudosulomates? It is the Nematode. They're classified as pseudosulomates. Okay. A true coelom is a body cavity that is completely lined by mesoderm. Please take note, it's mesoderm that lines the body cavity. When it is completely lined by body cavity, it's known as a true coelom. Okay. Which of the following is a true coelomate? You have your lumbricus. Lumbricus is a true coelomate. Which sequence correctly represents increasing body cavity organization? So we have firstly asulomate, then we have pseudocoelomate, and then we have coelomate. Okay, that is the increased organization. Repetition of similar body segments along the longitudinal axis is called metamerism. When you hear similar body segments, it is known as metamerism. Okay, similar body segments, metamerism. Okay, metamerism is a division of segmentation. Segmentation and metamerism, they are the same. The difference is that for metamerism is similar segments. Okay, while segmentation is just segments, it can be similar, it cannot be similar. But metamerism is when it is similar. All right, 29. True metameric segmentation is particularly characteristic of the annelida. Okay, the annelida. 30. Which of the following is correctly matched? Okay, this is, of course, scientific name. You have Lumbricus terrestris, which is earthworm. Okay. In protostome development, the blastopore generally becomes the mouth. Okay, becomes the mouth. While the deuterostome becomes the anus. In the deuterostome development, the blastopore generally becomes the anus. 33. Which cleavage pattern is traditionally associated with protostome? Protostomes have spiral and determinate. Which cleavage pattern is traditionally associated with deuterostomes? We have the radial and indeterminate. Okay. Squisocele involves the splitting of mesoderm. So when mesoderm splits, is known as squisocele. Okay. Enterocele involves the outpocketing of anthratorion. Please take note of all these concepts. They are very, very important. Which of the following is a deuterostome? The deuterostome is the echinoderms. Echinoderm. The notochord primarily functions as a dash. It functions as a flexible supporting rod. Okay. Flexible supporting rod. 39. Which of the following is not one of the four fundamental chordate characteristics? We have notochord, it is part of it. Dorsal hollow nerve cord is part of it. Post-anal tail is part of it. So you find them in mammals. Post-anal tail. But ventral solid nerve cord is not there. Ventral, that's front. Your spinal cord is not at the front, or your vertebral column is not at the front. Ventral is front, dorsal is back. Our cord or our vertebral column is at the back. So this is just telling us this dorsal hollow nerve cord is more like our spinal cord is at the back, right? Those are back. Is it hollow? Yes. That means something can pass through it. Of course, things pass through it, right? You see that there's a hole in your vertebral column where the spinal cord passes. But in the front, there's no spinal cord in front. There's no vertebral column at the front. So option C is the answer. I just hope you get your explanation. In chordates, the nerve cord is positioned. You can see it is positioned dorsal to the digestive system. That's at the back of the digestive system. That's where our nerve cord. When they just say nerve cord, what should come to your mind is your spinal cord. Okay. The reason why they are not saying spinal cord is because this zoology is not only talking about human being. Zoology is also talking about other animals. Okay. And in other animals, it might not be called spinal cord. It's known as nerve cord. Nerve cord covers everybody, both humans, other lower animals as well. 41. Which of the following is an invertebrate chordate? You have your brachistoma. They are invertebrate chordates. Brachistoma is commonly known as the lancelet. Which of the following is a tunicate? We have the ascidia. Please just take note of all these things. If at all you don't even know all these concepts, please know them tonight or know them before your examination. Okay. In most vertebrates, the notochord is largely replaced by the vertebral column. You can see, replaced by the vertebral column. Which of the following is not a fundamental chordate feature? We have the jointed appendages. So you see, we don't have jointed appendages, right? like what you see in your spider, what you see in your cockroaches, all those insects. We don't have it. Okay. The name Porifera literally refers to paw-bearing animals. Please also take note of the meaning of all these phylum. Let's no, it's flatworms. Okay, please take note of them. I beg you. 47. Adult sponges are generally dash. They are sensile. 48. The small opening through which water passes enters a sponge are ostia. Then the hole that it leaves is known as oscula. It enters through ostia, leaves through oscula. Please take note. The opening through which the water leaves the sponge is, okay, the answer is also, the question is also here, osculum or oscula. The central cavity of a typical sponge is the spongiocele. Spongiocele.